Hello and welcome back. If you've been with me all week, welcome back to Friday and the last day of this live series. Today we are recapping, but more importantly, I really want you to stay with me. If you've been in a gray area, whether that's with a relationship with alcohol or a relationship with a significant other, or there's something going on in your life, or you're not sure about your career and you feel like things aren't going the way that you want them to, and you are ready to make a change, but you don't know how or what, this is for you today. So please stay with me. This will be short, about 15 minutes. I know I said that yesterday and I went over a little bit, but that's okay. If you've missed any of the previous lives this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or yesterday, they are still active here on this page, whether you're watching on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or on my personal Facebook page. Just go back and you will find them. Or if you want, send me a DM and I'll send it to you directly. So let's talk about what the gray areas are. Let's do a really fast recap. The gray areas that you might have in your life are those things that you know are there, but you're not quite ready to address them, or they've been nagging at you for a very long time, and you're at this point where you're ready to do something. Sometimes these gray areas seem like nothing, but the longer we keep pushing them away, they become bigger problems. It's a snowball effect. And my friends, most often we are in a gray area for 2 years or more before we actually take action. Before we actually take action. So I want to share with you, if you've been in a gray area for a long time, today it is your day to decide what you're going to do. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Carrie Schwer. I am the founder of Gray Tonic and the Decide Method, which is a proven system. I've taken hundreds and hundreds of clients through this process with massive success, and I want to be able to take you through it too. So let's dive in. The gray areas. Here are some traditional, if you will, if you want to call them traditional, some examples of gray areas. Drinking is a big one. That was my gray area for a long time. I was a gray area drinker. And if you're not sure what that term is, it is somebody who is more than socially drinking, but not severely abusing alcohol to the point where they're in the category of alcoholism. Are they abusing alcohol? Yes, but not in the place of severe alcoholism. And you still have a choice when you're in the gray area. That was my story. By the way, about 75 million Americans, they did a study 2 years ago, identify as being in a gray area. My guesstimation is 50% of the population that consumes alcohol may be in a gray area. So it is a huge number. And if you're honest with yourself and you are a drinker, perhaps you're in a gray area. There's a huge spectrum. So multiple shades of gray, right? We have multiple shades of gray, or 50 shades of gray if you want to go there, but that's for another day. So we have this wide spectrum. Besides gray area drinking, we have gray areas in all of our habits, whether it's overeating or scrolling or binge watching on Netflix, whatever it is. None of those things are, maybe you're thinking they're not severe enough to want to make a significant change until they become a problem. And that's the thing. When things start to become a problem, it's a problem. You need to address it. So what I'm asking you today is to finally shine the big light on yourself and say, where am I hiding from those gray areas? You already know, my friend, you already know. There's this intuitive knowing inside that something is off. And how do I know this? Because every single person that I've worked with, including myself, has had that same feeling. You just know something is not quite right. So today it's about decision day. So we know what gray areas are. It could show up in your health. It could show up in your relationships, your marriage. It could show up in your spirituality. It absolutely can show up in your career. And it can affect so many areas of your life. One thing leads to the other. One small gray area will bleed over to the others. And we want to be able to stop the bleed while we can, because being in a gray area is a choice. Allow me to say that again. Being in a gray area is a choice. Once we get outside of that gray area and you are forced into a change, it is no longer a choice. And trust me, you have much more power when you are the one who is enabling that change. When you have your own agency on that decision, you will be in a much better place. So that's why I'm really passionate about sharing what these gray areas are while you still have that chance to make a difference for yourself and those around you. Because the more you know about yourself, the better you can lead yourself. And the better you can lead yourself, the better you are going to be all the way around. You're going to be able to love and lead in a much more impactful way. And if that's you, please hear what I'm saying. So we talked about the gray areas. We know what those are. We started with the decide method. I started explaining what that is. We have to start with the desire to want to make that change. That is the catalyst of all change. But with the desire comes knowing what the resistance is. We will always have something that's going to want to pull us away from it. You have to know what that deep internal resistance is that you already have. There's a reason why you've had resistance this whole time, or you would have made a change already. I stayed in the pre-contemplation stage of my drinking for 2 years before I made that change for myself. So maybe for you it's not that long, maybe it is, I don't know. But we have to know what that resistance is. Once we remove the resistance, now we can start moving forward. So desire is the first D in the decide method. Then we looked at exploring your why. We must go 5 layers deep on understanding why this is so important for you to make this change. Again, for me, it was drinking. That was my first gray area that I was willing to acknowledge. Why did I want to quit drinking? Because it was impacting my health. It was impacting the way I felt about myself, my sleep, my clarity, my energy. And why was that important? Well, because that was also affecting the way I was showing up for my marriage and my family. Well, why was that so important? Because I want them to be proud of me. I want to be able to be there for them. I want to be in a healthy place for them. And why is that important? Because my family is everything. So we have to go 5 layers deep when we're looking at our why, because if that's not strong, like a pillar of strength, the first thing that comes along will knock you off of that pillar and you're right back to where you started. Whether that's with a career, whatever the gray area it is, this is all applicable. So we have to explore your why, going 5 layers deep. So desire, explore your why. The C is having commitment. Commitment is a daily decision of action. You must be willing to take that action of commitment every single day. That means no backdoor. That means not 98%. That means 100% committed to this change. The I in the decide method is the biggest one. It is an identity shift. Be willing to step into a new version of yourself. I'm going to keep using alcohols as an example. This may not be your gray area, but it's okay. We're going to use the example. If you want to become somebody who doesn't need to rely on alcohol because it is negatively affecting areas of your life, then you need to adopt the identity before it even happens. I'm a non-drinker, and what does a non-drinker do? So adapting the behavior and, more importantly, the mindset first of this is who I now am, because your identity is tied to your old stories, your old beliefs, your old laws, your old rules. It's like this frame in which we live in, and we operate inside of this identity frame. And that identity frame is dictating all of your behavior. You can look at your life and see the evidence, the fruit, the results of what you believe about yourself based on what you think about yourself. So in order for us to have a change in a specific area, we must be willing to adopt that new identity, that new version of ourselves in order to become it. So who does that person need to be? Using the example of alcohol, if you want to be a non-drinker, let's start with you don't drink alcohol. You don't buy alcohol and have it in your home. You don't hang out with Joe and Bob that's going to the bar every night having a drink. You don't take beer with you on the golf course. You plan ahead when you go to a networking meeting and you know what you're going to be drinking before you get there, and you're going to have an exit plan. You're going to know what you're going to order. You're going to have all this in your head. You're going to plan your day. You are going to be intentional with everything that you do. Intentionality and awareness, those two things together is the key to all of this. So planning all this out Adopting that identity, that's the I in the decide method. Hugely important. The D, the second D in decide, is for daily habits. Daily habits are gold, but the right habits are what we need to be focusing on here. And you might have thought about like, well, I've tried doing things. I've tried altering my habits before. I've tried to eliminate bad habits while implementing good habits and they haven't stuck. Well, it's not that they haven't stuck. It's that you didn't have the right plan or the right process. A lot of times you know what you don't want. You might not know what you do want, but you know what you don't want. So you try to do it and you might stumble and fall. I know I've been guilty of this myself, but having a proven plan to follow and having somebody hold you accountable, that's the difference. I work out with a personal trainer 3 days a week. I pay her to work out with me because I know she's going to hold me accountable and she's going to push me past the limits that I would do if I was working out by myself at the gym. Matter of fact, I know when I go to the gym by myself, let's say I'm doing like back rows, dumbbells, I might pick up a 20-pound dumbbell where my trainer will hand me a 30-pound dumbbell because she knows I can do it if she's standing there, right? We're human. It's good to have somebody that's going to push you. So knowing what those daily habits are, having the plan, having exactly what you need to do and having the right approach makes all the difference in the world. So that's the second D in the decide method. And the last E is executing every single day with effort. You have to be willing to have that consistency every single day. And when that happens, when we combine all of this, desire, explore your why, commitment to self, identity shift, daily habits, and executing on with everyday effort, when we put this all together, my friend, that's the decide method, you will be successful. And today we're talking about this is your moment to decide. I really want you to lean into this. Are you willing to continue down the path that you've been going, whether it's with a relationship that you have at home, that the marriage feels like a partnership feels like roommates rather than a true partnership. Maybe it's with something like alcohol or another habit that you're doing. Maybe it is with your career and you just keep sucking it up, hoping things are going to get better and they don't. By the way, that my friend, when we start doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result, we all know that is the definition of insanity. It will not change. You have to be the absolute catalyst for yourself when it comes to change. So today you get to decide. You get to decide, am I willing to continue to do this or not? Q2 starts on Tuesday. You know what else starts on Tuesday? Decide 30, which is the decide method and more in a 30-day program that is an amazing program. I've had several go through it back in January. This is the second time I'm running this program, and I will tell you that it is a phenomenal program. You can learn more about it at graytonic.com, and I'll also put down at the bottom, we start April 1st. If you go to the website, you'll see Decide 30 at the top. Click on that. Go to the info page. Just check out the page. See what kind of questions you might have. This program is for all gray areas that you have in your life. A lot of times my clients come to me for one thing. Turns out that's not why they're really there. I have a lot of clients that start working with me because they want to work on the relationship with alcohol, which, by the way, we get through that really quickly because that's an easy thing to address, especially when you're in the gray area. And now we're able to focus on the real problems. This 30-day program is an amazing jump start for you to begin working on that. And there are testimonials on the website. You can check that out and see what others think about it. They're just like you. High-performing men and women that want to make some differences in their lives. And they need a program. They desire to have some shifts and changes. And this is the way to do it. So I encourage you. I've been using the Decide method for years with my clients. This is a brand new program that, like I said, just started in January, and I know it can make a huge difference for you. So please consider it. Now, if you've been with me all week, I said If you are with me today on Friday, I have a special little bonus. If you are to join Decide 30 and you do it by the end of today, Friday, the 28th of March, by midnight Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I will bonus you with a one-on-one session with me so we can dive much deeper into your specific gray areas where you get me all to yourself. Decide 30 is an amazing program. It's a group program. We'll meet 5 times in April. Every Wednesday, we're going to meet at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and they will be recorded. So if you're not able to make the live version, which I really hope that you'll be able to, you'll get the recording. We will be communicating every single day. You'll have me every day inside an app that I use called Voxer. It is a way that we communicate. You'll have modules and lessons in the back end, which you will have for life. And this will walk you through all of this, not just the Decide method, but my other methodologies that I use that will move you out of these gray areas. Again, whether that's with your relationships, with alcohol, with your spouse, with someone at work, with your career, with how connected or disconnected you are with your spirituality, with your body. We'll be looking at your health. We are going to dive deep. This program is fast moving. It is comprehensive, and I guarantee satisfaction. So please take it seriously. I want you to move out of these gray areas. And by the way, it's $497, less than $500. And I'm bonusing you a one-on-one session with me, which by the way, is about $500. So just having one session with me, you're getting the whole program, the whole month of coaching, plus a one-on-one session with me for this month if you sign up today, by the end of today. So I hope you'll take me up on that. If you have any questions, you can send me a private message. You can just go into my DMs and say, hey, I saw you live. I heard you talk about this. I have a few questions. I will gladly answer them. And if we need to, we'll jump on a phone call and I will still honor that call for you, that one-on-one session if you want, but you got to DM me. Okay. I hope that you found this encouraging. And listen, it's not that long ago. It was 8 years ago, almost 9 years now, that I made the decision to end my gray areas. I started with drinking. I worked on my marriage. I had a gray area with my husband, Rob. I was in a severe gray area with my career. Oh boy, that's what really drove the drinking and some other things. So I know what it's like to be in those gray areas, and it's miserable. I never thought that I would be in the position that I am in today. Matter of fact, I never saw myself being that person that's sharing their story publicly, let alone going live on 3 different social platforms at once, sharing this information so openly and broadly. But I do it because I truly want to help you and others get out of their own gray areas, because that is my calling to do it. I know how miserable it can feel. And the older we get, I'm in my late 50s, the older we get, the less time we have, and we realize how important life really, really is. And for you, my friend, I want you to be able to feel the same things that I've been feeling over the last several years. And I want you to be in a place where you feel really good. But we got to start somewhere. And this is the best place for you to begin. So again, I have it running down there. Go to graytonic.com, go to the Decide 30 page, get the information. I'll drop the link to when I'm done with the live, and go check it out for yourself. And if you sign up by the end of today, I'm going to bonus you that one-on-one session where you and I are going to spend a whole hour together, and we are going to dive deeper into how I can best support you in the program for the 30 days, and you'll feel so much stronger and so much more confident. And I promise you that will happen. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for being with me this week. Thank you for taking the time for yourself. Say yes to you. It's okay to say no to those gray areas. It's okay to have questions. It's okay to have doubt and being unsure. I get it. Whenever you start something new, you're like, what is it going to be like? I don't know. I promise you, everyone has felt that way too. And within a day or two of being in the program, you're going to be like, "Ah, I made the best decision for myself." And I know that will be for you as well. So please consider joining me for April's cohort that starts on Tuesday. So that's why I want you to sign up today so I can get you prepared and get you ready. So we're on time on Tuesday. And then our first meeting will be on Wednesday, the 2nd, the entire month of April on Wednesdays. I'll see you live on Zoom in a smaller group, and we will really attack this together. Okay? God bless you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again real soon. Have a great weekend.